Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Dustin, Meyer, and actually I don't know if it clipped off here, but we got Abel here with us again today, and I'm just going to send out some links here. Let me just do a little bit of sharing. But anyways, so we finished up let's see, y'all. We finished up a workshop, a wedding workshop yesterday, and it was pretty good. What do you think?
I think it was a good turnout. Actually learned something.
Yeah, I think that the link to join the chat. I can't type fast enough. There we go. So, but yeah, I don't know. I've been teaching this class for a while now, and every year, we just learn more and more from my mistakes, and people asking questions and all that good stuff. So, it's I don't know, it's just fun, but it's a chance for photographers to get out of the just get out of the studio and get around other people, and um I don't know, I just learn stuff and share information and all the jazz. So but I don't know, like I said, I've been doing this for about 10 years or so, and actually 2 weeks from now is Texas school, so I'll be doing that for the entire week up in Dallas, and that's a pretty big one. I don't even know how many people go to that thing, but I don't know. Have you been to Texas school before?
I got a scholarship 2, 3 years ago, but I was not able to go. So
Oh,
that's on my bucket list.
oh man. See, the funny thing is, I actually only went once, and I probably shouldn't be saying that out loud. But no, I only went one time, and this was a long time ago. I took Ralph Romagira's class about posing and lighting and stuff, and I think it was geared more towards just overall portraiture, like maybe for senior portraits or stuff like that. But it's I don't know. Like once I took that class, it really kind of just expanded my just how my pictures looked, and I was able to actually raise my prices and all that stuff. But people like Abel, they just know how to do that stuff inherently. Just but no, Abel's helping me out again. He's back doing some more video stuff. I can't wait for people to see all the stuff that you've put together so far. He gave me a sneak peek earlier, and way better than any of the video stuff I've ever done. So I don't know. So what do you want to talk about today?
The power of the selfie stick.
The power of the selfie stick. I was like, okay, you serious? Yeah, let's go with that. But I don't know. I've been posting pictures from the workshop I did yesterday on Facebook and Instagram, and Abel actually gave me a really good referral to a website. I can't remember the name of the website, but if you Google Flume, Flume, it's a desktop app for your computer, and you can actually drag and drop your photos like onto this app, and it will upload them to Instagram for you. And then you can type in your hashtags and all that other stuff. You can even put in like the location and everything else. So it's really cool. I didn't realize that Instagram app actually opened up their API. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Sorry, Instagram. I didn't mean to say that. Um, but I did find the other day there's also a plugin for Lightroom called LR Instagram, and it's kind of the same thing. You just you go to Instagram, and there's like those share features down at the bottom on the left side when you're in library mode, where you'll have like, Facebook, where it'll automatically let you share to Facebook. Well, now there's a plugin that will allow you to, I'm just going to put it in the chat here. It will allow you to upload instantly from Lightroom into Instagram. It's not as in depth as what Flume can do. I think basically scroll all the way down to the metadata panel when you're in library mode and you're in the LR Instagram module. there's a place at the bottom where you can put in the hashtag stuff. It doesn't let you tag photos. You can mention people using their username and stuff in the caption. But if you want to tag somebody, you actually have to go into Instagram and tag them after you've posted it from Lightroom. But I don't know. I wasn't really posting as much stuff on Lightroom or on Instagram as I should have been doing. But ever since Abel gave me the referral for Flume, Flume, I started doing it a lot more because I'm at my computer most of the time instead of having to like copy it from Dropbox to my phone and then put it into Instagram and all this other stuff. Plus, I feel like it's a lot faster typing hashtags and stuff instead of trying to do it on your phone.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a big phone person.
Yeah,
I prefer a keyboard.
yeah, I agree. What? How did you find that?
Well, a friend of ours has a boutique in McAllen in Shop 112, and she's always done social media well, but she was never really able to tell me how to push photos from her desktop that she shot to her Instagram account. And her business was built on Instagram. She went from just a small boutique to exploding it. I mean, it's a big deal. So I'm a photographer. I have to get the images out there, but it was a pain in the butt to go from Dropbox, phone, Instagram. So I just started poking around. I asked other photographers, and one guy, I think from London, had suggested this one. I think it was $10. But as I push the image up, I don't do all the hashtags. I just localize my hashtag. And little by little, people picked up on it, especially as we're concentrating more on headshots and
Mm,
commercial work than wedding photography. So,
gotcha. Yeah, actually, this morning, I sometimes like if you Google, I don't know, like wedding tags or wedding hashtags, there's sites out there that have like whole blocks of hashtags that you can just copy paste into Instagram. Some of them are okay. They do a decent job. Some of them are like, crazy like hashtag bohemian destination wedding or whatever. So you have to kind of skip over those. But what I did do was if I was on my phone or on my computer, either one, and I copied it, I would copy it from the website into the Notes app on my computer, and then it would sync up to my phone. So when I would post from my phone, I would just copy paste those hashtags into Instagram. But and I guess you can kind of do the same thing when it comes to, if you're actually going to post from your computer. Now that there's a couple of different ways to do that. So for anybody that's joining us right now, again, the let's see, I'll just make sure. Okay. I'm just kind of scouring the Facebook group here to see if anybody's like, hey, where's the video? Of course, I did make a late announcement today that we were on for today. So it might be a while before people jump in, but just having a couple of different options now that I guess there's a hack for posting to Instagram from your computer. So again, I'll post the link in the chat so you guys can check out. Now this one is this is the Lightroom plugin, so you can check it out. I think it's $10 if you want to register it, which is not a bad deal. And I'm gonna see if I can find the link for Flume. I can't remember what the name of the.
you can just flip back.
Yeah, just LF.
Right on Google.
Yeah, or I'll type the name um, in the chat there so you guys can actually see it. But like I said, it's like flute, but with an M instead of a T. But it's also nice too because you can actually like see the Instagram feed and everything. It's got like all the social interaction stuff on it. Like it'll show you when you get notifications. You can search for users or hashtags or whatever. It'll show like your activity feed, your own profile messages and stuff. It's like having the Instagram app on your desktop, but you are also able to upload pictures from your computer onto Instagram. So yeah. So let's see here. Okay. So I talk a lot. I'm going to take a break here. I was gonna ask you what got you started in like video, and you've been doing some like new video projects and stuff to kind of just
Well,
get out there.
I always say God has a sense of humor. I started off in news in the 90s, 1997. I already had a camera in my hand since 92. So mine was just a progression. A buddy of mine, once I got out of news in the early 2000s, a buddy of mine decided to start an ad agency or come aboard. So we formed a team. When my son baptism by fire. And as time has gone on and people become more social, they don't want to see necessarily what you can do. They also want to know if they even like you.
Oh, okay,
And
that makes sense.
I have a point to all this. A mentor of mine passed away a long time ago and said, they want to do business with you because they like you. So everything I did in the 90s, I just fast forwarded to 2017, 2018. And instead of producing news stories, starting producing content for websites. And it's been anything from why you need something, but not a preachy type of deal. Like, let me just show you. I like to really enjoy what we're doing, and I try to make sure that people will get the point. Like, okay, this is what we do versus what you do newborn photography. No, unfortunately, I don't. I don't have all the cradles and cutesy things, but I can recommend 2 or 3 different people. So video is actually what pushed me into that direction where it's okay. We adapted, so I can tell stories, and it's been touch and go, but really coming back from the 90s to what it is now, where it's a lot of run and gun type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
I spoke to a professor, or actually, they're trying to get me to do an online course at the University of California. And I spoke to one of the directors, and I said, all the stuff y'all are producing would have gotten me fired 20 years ago. What do you mean? I said, I remember my news director walking in and saying, if you do not use that tripod, we will fire you.
Oh
And
my
all 12 of
God.
us were being punished because I was just hand holding the camera. It was a sin. And now, if you put something on what we called sticks back then, I don't know if you still call them that,
Uh-huh.
it's boring. But it's still my go to, like, all right, we're going to have a 3 camera setup and just, what you do, a little switcher.
Uh-huh.
But now it's really frowned upon. They want run and gun, what you see in cell phone video. So kind of like just did a hybrid of both, telling stories, trying to keep it light,
Hmm.
but also trying to make it a little bit more modern. So I'm
Gotcha.
still a work in progress. I'm not going to be the next Casey Neistat, nor do I try. But really just to have fun,
Yeah.
and try to show people what we do or what we're doing today in a fun way versus, okay, this is why you must come. Why does it be so right between the eyes?
Yeah. And you know what that sounds like to me is, in the beginning in photography, especially, when we're starting a business or whatever, a lot of us, we'll look around at other photographers' sites and we feel like, okay, well, I need the same kind of gear that they've got, but
Yeah.
more so it's like I want my pictures to look like theirs. I want my style. I really like Jose Villa's stuff. I'm going to try and copy his style or whatever. But over the years, you kind of just start developing your own style. And it's totally unique and whatever. And then people will start looking for you because they like your particular style, whether they saw it on Instagram or your website or wherever. So is that kind of like what it's turned into
I
for
think
video?
it's the same thing where
Hmm.
I like a natural light look to everything, and it just kind of blends into the video. But I think what video is different, you have to be able to story tell.
Hmm.
I have friends I still talk to, instructors that have moved on, and the more successful ones have told me you have to be able to tell a story. And in other words, okay, why is a senior going to do this? What's her deal? Well, she was a drum major. She did this, storytelling, and you'll be able to. I mean, it's not the nicest way of saying it, but you'll receive a higher sales point because now you can put books together.
For those of you guys that have been around for a while, you know what Olin Mills means. So,
Now,
which I think is something that we all try to avoid. But I do a lot of just headshots. And a lot of times there's actually like a required criteria for how the headshot has to look. And, in a way that kind of makes it easier because you have this routine down, you already know how to do the setup to get what they want. But then, there's people that, contact the studio and say, I want my headshot to look modern, or, to stay away from the Olin Mills look or whatever. And it's, I don't know. I do get more of that though. I mean, I still get emails from people that, say they work for like a real estate company or a mortgage lending firm or something, and they need it to all look the same because they're all going on their website. But, if I get somebody who's like an independent agent, or I've actually had like a lot of authors that got published that need a headshot for their upcoming book. They want something totally different. And it's funny to me that we're still doing stuff kind of the old way.
Well, I think you have to find a medium. Like for me,
Hmm.
we'll get what I call my safe shot. Like, look, let's just do this standard. Like, turn the camera, or you look towards the camera. Look important. All
Hmm.
joking aside, and you snap it. All right, now we've done our safe shot. The author is going to be happy. Somebody else is going to be happy.
Uh-huh.
Uh, it's going to be handled. All right, now let's go have some fun. And I use those words because, like, what do you mean by fun? This is what they need. Just trust me. Let's have some fun. And this is the stuff that usually goes on social media.
Uh-huh.
So you can actually start playing around with lights, posing, and I'll tell them, I've gone as far as to say, look, what do you do when I'm not around? What do you mean? How do you take your selfies? And they'll always give me a certain look, or they'll do their own thing.
Uh-huh.
But from that one little part, I've noticed that people, one, will drop their guard, and you get more of a natural and a real expression out of it. And I've had people say, you know what, that's my husband, that's my wife, and that's what I know.
Hmm.
But the photos that everybody else is delivering is the just clenching the jaw. I don't want to
Yeah.
be here. I'm here because the company's made me. I
Yeah.
have to be here because of my job.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like that's the like this morning we did a headshot session, and it was for somebody who had to have. In fact, they sent me a sample photo ahead of time because that's what they needed it to look like, that sample photo. So which I always encourage people to send me a sample shot of, like, whether it's a required look or if it's just a look that they like. If they send it to me ahead of time, I can already kind of figure out, the setup that I would need to do it. So that's already, it's all ready to go. I don't know. I feel like if you mess around with your gear too much when the client's actually here, you start to disconnect from them, and they're like just sitting around waiting for you to figure out, what you're going to do or whatever. But, this person, when they came in, and we already had everything set up. I was explaining to her why it was set up that way. She sounded like she was really impressed that I could tell from the sample photo that she sent me last week that I knew how to do the setup. And I explained to her, like, well, I'm pretty sure this was how it's done. You just kind of look at the reflection in the eyes and stuff. But I don't know. I think just, pointless banter back and forth while you're taking their picture makes them a little bit more comfortable because they don't feel like they're going to the dentist.
Well, I think what hurts a lot of photographers, because I still talk to some of the ones that are coming up, and I mentor a couple. And I always told them, like, what you've told me, like, look, these are all
Hmm.
the mistakes I've made, and don't do it.
Yeah.
And my first mistake, I remember I was working for Embassy Suites, and they said, you can do this job. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, architecture doesn't complain, it doesn't move. By the way, we have models, and they want to do a breakfast setup.
Hmm.
What the heck is that? No, they're gonna have breakfast together. Like, they're happy on vacation. Oh crap! All right, and they smiled at me. I shook their hands,
Uh-huh.
and I took their pictures, and I didn't say anything else to them. Click, 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 click. Make funny faces at my camera. Click, 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 and
Uh-huh.
then look at me for some sort of validation. Like, are we doing okay? Like, just keep eating those pancakes. Just keep going, keep going. You know, and that's when it really hit home. Like, yeah, I'm not just pushing the shutter.
Uh-huh.
I need to actually communicate. I need to be able to have some sort of routine, and I call it my go-to.
Uh-huh.
Talking about the students yesterday, and I always have bad, not bad jokes. They're in good taste, but these some people walk in and just frustrated.
Yeah.
They're tense. I'll say, all right, pretend to be happy. That's one. Don't look so miserable.
Hmm.
You know, just kind of start having a little bit of fun. And I'll always tell them like, here, hold this. I'm like, okay, if your real estate job doesn't work out, you can be a professional bag holder. You're awesome at it. But that's the reaction I get. Like, you just really said that, didn't you?
Right.
So you kind of loosen them up. So the first for me, I don't know how you shoot. First 10 are usually what I call throwaways.
Yeah.
I'm just, I already got three for my light. I start talking to them. Once they're loosened up, that's when I know I'm actually get what I'm looking for. But everybody works differently. I just need their personality to come out and break down that little wall that everybody has.
Yeah. It's I mean, the method that I use is I'll tell them straight up, okay, these first few just for me to make sure my lights are calibrated. Don't feel like you got to nail it on the first shot, or sometimes I'll say, just do whatever you want, make a silly face. I don't care. This is just for lighting. And sometimes they will actually make a silly face, which is great because that kind of jump starts the whole like getting them comfortable kind of thing. But I don't know. I use this really bad tactic of, and this part's true. I actually, I can't remember. There we go. Sorry. We just want to be able to see you.
Thanks. At least I'm not living underneath the bridge anymore.
Hey. But I don't know how it is for everybody else, but hey Diana, hey Ash, but it's one of those things where I can't remember any of the bad jokes that I used to know when I was in high school.
You can't tell those jokes anymore.
Well, yeah, you can't really tell them anyways. And most of the jokes, if I can even remember them, are a bunch of like kids pirate jokes because my son was really into pirates for a while and he had this book and he would read it to me at night and basically go through the entire book asking me a bunch of pirate knock knock jokes. So so what I ended up doing is during the photo shoot, like I can't even just think of a bad joke on the fly, so I'll just ask them to smile. They kind of give me that little half-ass smile, and then I'll do a pastor headshot. So knock on wood, that I don't accidentally say that. But I mean, it's just, I think once you kind of shock people into realizing that this is not as bad.
Well, you notice like Tony Robbins, I follow a lot of motivational speaking, but I never saw one of his seminars where he's loose and he's swearing every other word. And it's a shock factor.
Yeah.
And they asked him, what's the deal? Because on your books, your audio, even your podcast, you're very cordial, very friendly. You actually have a soothing voice in some of these deliveries. Well, you have to shock people out of their natural environment.
Okay.
And that's where he swears. Because if you throw an F-bomb nowadays, like people freak out.
Yeah.
Again, coming back from news, they could paint the wall with those things. I mean, they would do a number. But I have thick skin.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be offended. Somebody else might. But somebody just need that tug of the ear, like, hey, whoa. And it snaps them out like, okay, I'm engaged, I'm here, I'm present. So do what you gotta do.
Yeah, especially for those morning sessions, if you're at a convention or listening to a speaker and stuff and the coffee didn't quite wake you up, somebody like cussing on stage would definitely get my attention, that's for sure. But we're not going to do that here because I don't want to get this video pulled. How people try to, I don't know, just get people out of their, I don't know what to call it, just sort of like that, just trying to get them to wake up, be a part of whatever it is you're doing, headshots or fortunately yesterday at the workshop, the models that we had for the bride and groom, extremely friendly, very personable. Yeah. The bride, she had actually done another workshop with us before, but the groom, this was his first time doing any kind of modeling.
Yeah, I mean, he asked me he was a little bit tight at the very beginning. And he said, well, would you have any recommendations? I was helping you out. I was participating, but also making sure all the things had to be where they're at. And I told the guy, don't throw up, don't pass out. And that's what I told my reporters back in the day, because sometimes we get rookies,
Uh-huh.
and then like, why would you say that? Simple, because you don't want to wind up on the bloopers reel.
Yeah.
But they ease up. Oh, okay, okay. And I just want to have fun. But it went from, I'm okay. It looked good on paper. We're ready to roll. But okay, I start a little stiff. You know what? Don't throw up. Don't pass out. Simple.
I got to remember that one.
Yeah. Well, wait till you have somebody that really means it.
Oh
I
God.
said that to somebody once, and she said, "Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded, but thank you." I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Oh.
That's a running joke for 20 years. Let's pull it
Oh.
back.
Oh no.
Yeah. So like, if you're gonna go and throw up, I don't have anything,
I'm gonna have a
and you're
bag.
not using my cap either. That's not happening. I usually wear a hat.
So we have a bunch of those plastic bibs with the lobster on it. Maybe
Hey, that's
use
not a
one of
bad
those.
idea.
So
We'll have lunch and collect those.
yeah, we'll go to Red Lobster and just steal a whole bunch of them. Um, Mr. Sir, why do you need all these bibs? No reason.
No, just get a paint card.
Yeah, yeah. But I, I think that once the groom model realized that, I don't know, maybe he thought that it was we were actually going to be asking him to model a particular outfit, like this was going in a magazine. But maybe once he actually realized that this was like for a class,
Mm-hmm.
he realized it was a totally different thing. So after that, he was able to kind of, I mean, not that he was being super stiff at the beginning. I think he was doing great for somebody who was doing this for the first time. But I think that once he realized, oh, this whole thing is set up to be like a learning environment for all these students and stuff, then it was kind of like, oh, okay, I don't have to know what I'm doing. Which honestly, I think is one of the biggest problems we have when it comes to uh, doing a workshop where we want to teach people how to pose their clients and stuff like that. But when you have a professional model, they already kind of know how to do it, so you kind of have to make them not do it. And
Well, I think you have a break though, because I've been
yeah.
to workshops. I remember going to my first Lindsay Adler workshop.
Mm-hmm.
First time I'd ever been. He said, "Oh, we have these models," and I've been shooting for many years at this point, but never working with a model. So I was a little bit intimidated. Like, do I tell them what to do? Do I click the shutter and they start moving on their own like we see in the movies?
Mm-hmm.
So what I like about the workshops that Precision has done and the one you've had before is the models one are approachable.
Mm-hmm.
They're very easy to talk to, and they're not full of themselves. So you can ask them like, "Would you mind taking off your jacket and slinging it over your shoulder?"
Mm-hmm.
They'll play along. They'll do whatever you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what photographers have to learn, like give direction.
Yeah.
Because some workshops I've attended to, I don't want to mention any names, they have all the lights set up, so it's portfolio building.
Mm-hmm.
But what's terrible about that is if you land a client because you have an awesome portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
great, repeat the magic.
Yeah.
Oh crap! And that's when you find out how much you're gonna either pull
Yeah.
from the nether regions or you're gonna have to fake it till you make it. You know.
I mean, yeah, that is a really good point. I remember I've heard of people before talking about how they paid to go to a workshop, but then as they were there to learn and stuff, they realized what it was. In all honesty, the instructor basically just got a lot of people to pay to come to a workshop so they could quote unquote observe while the instructor was basically conducting a style shoot.
Yeah.
And getting paid for it by the attendees and stuff. So if you paid to go to this workshop, what you're really paying for is to just watch a photo shoot happen. I mean, some people were like, yeah, we never even got to take pictures because the instructor was taking pictures the entire time. But also what you were saying just now about, like the lighting setup and all this other stuff, just having all the lights and everything ready to go, and then just giving somebody a pocket wizard and saying, "Okay, now it's your turn." They don't know what the flashes are set to, or the
I
light
think if
stands, or all that
you're
stuff.
just learning possibilities, like what you can do
Mm-hmm.
with it, it's a good thing. But if you're portfolio building,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, that's dangerous. Because yeah, you'll get eyes on your product or whatever it is you're producing,
Mm-hmm.
and you think it's common sense, but people don't think that far out. Like the photographer I was referring to, she used I think 6 speed lights I've never carried more than five, and two belong to my Sony. The rest of them are, I mean, two Canons,
Hmm.
and one is emergency backup in case if I drop one, I have it in the truck. It
Yeah.
lives there with the emergency tire. It's never moved. It's cheap, Amazon product, but that's if everything were to go south. If they stole my camera bag, I'm always thinking worst case scenario.
Hmm.
But I couldn't. I mean, if they can do that, God bless them. But
Yeah.
I am of the mind of simplicity. Most of
Hmm.
my clients will not sit there and say, "All right, well, you're here on set. I'll see you in 30 minutes."
Yeah.
No, they want to have their photos done now to get the heck out. They have places to be. So I'll use maybe two lights at most. And I went
Hmm.
lazy and got pro photo lights because they had a great sale.
Hmm.
But it does, you want whatever class you attend to. I know I tend to ramble. Just make sure that you have some sort of criteria.
Yeah.
I'll always tell my wife, look, this is what I learned. This is what I ask my kids. What'd you learn today?
I don't
No,
know.
that's not an answer. No,
Yeah, I get that too a lot.
I get it
But
after Bible study. My youngest has praise and worship as his go-to, and you can't argue with that.
yeah.
Like, what'd you learn today? Oh, it's praise and worship. All right, no, seriously. So when you go to a workshop, whether it's Texas School, one of yours, Precision Camera, wherever, I mean, have a working set of questions. Like,
Hmm.
why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, I've attended your wedding workshop. This is my second time around. This time I didn't worry so much about what's in front of the camera, like clicking away. I was more interested in posing
Hmm.
because even though I hardly do weddings anymore, body mechanics is body mechanics.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's and that, like I said before, I don't know, one of the things I always try to do when I'm teaching or whatever is to tell people ahead of time, look, none of this stuff I just thought up on my own. Like, it's from things that I've learned over the years, whether it's from watching videos or someone showed me how to do it, all this other stuff. So if I'm going to if people are going to pay to come to a workshop that I am teaching, then I feel like I'm obligated to explain to them, why I'm telling somebody to stand or hold themselves a certain way. Yeah, I could just tell, the bride, okay, all right, kind of turn your body this way, but shoulders that way, lean the head this way. Okay, that looks good. Kind of maybe put, one arm here or there or whatever. But if I don't explain why I'm doing it, then the people there aren't going to learn like why I'm doing it a certain way. And so I feel like if I can explain to them why I'm telling somebody to pose a certain way or why I've got, lights set up a certain way, then it gives them a better opportunity to understand, and then apply it themselves
Mm-hmm.
later on. But I mean, I've been to classes before where someone just puts up, a light stand over here and a modifier on it, and then they have like a wireless trigger on their camera, and they'll have some lens on it. Like, sometimes they don't even explain why they're using a certain lens.
Well, I think with the going back to social media we began with
Hmm.
and the evolution of YouTube, now that information is out there. So as an instructor, I mean, I've even and you need to be able to give them something that they're not going to really learn. And my comeback on anybody's like, I don't even know photography classes. I can go to YouTube.
Hmm.
But if you have a specific question, you can't ask. I mean, you can, but if you have somebody who's traveling the world, you
Hmm.
may get a response 6 months later. I had Joel Grimes respond to me because I had a question about his clamshell lighting, and
Hmm.
he was honest. Like, I'm on the road with Harley Davidson for 8 weeks,
Wow.
and I was like, well, you know what? God bless you. That's fun. But I did have this question. You did tell me at your workshop I can ask. I could ask this. And yeah, he was really friendly about it.
Hmm.
But the time had already come and gone. I had
Yeah.
figured it out on my own by monkeying around with the camera or the flash, and I finally got what I needed.
Hmm.
So that's one element I don't think you receive from YouTube. Maybe you will, but
Yeah. It's I mean, because I do, like, I'll post retouching videos on my channel, and I always encourage people, if you have questions, post them up here. I'll do my best to answer them as soon as I can. I think even a couple of videos, I even said, it's the busy time of year, so I'll do what I can to get back to you, but it may be a while. Whereas, even from my point of view, at the workshop, I'll have people that they might be too embarrassed to even ask me a question because they don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing. whether it's in front of their other attendees or if, to me or whatever. But someone will come up to me and they'll kind of whisper, something like, what do you have your camera settings set to? Or, why are you using that particular lens, or blah, blah, blah. And I just, I have no problem answering it. They paid to be there. And, but being able to ask those questions, like while it's happening during that moment of understanding and learning, yeah, I agree. I mean, I've looked up stuff on YouTube before, and I end up actually clicking back about 10, 15 seconds or so and watching one part again and again and again, so I can try to figure it out because I didn't understand it the first time.
Well, it's all an evolution. I think if you're pushing forward with whatever you're doing, whether you're doing landscapes, weddings,
Mm-hmm.
headshots, you have to be able to adapt. You don't want to be left behind. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to say that all the time, like, I'll always ride the wave. But I can safely say that in my career, yeah, with social media, I was left behind. I was a web designer as a
Mm-hmm.
part of the ad agency. I looked at Facebook and Instagram, like, who cares? I'm eating a sandwich. Why would anybody care? And I insisted on not paying attention to it, and it ran me over.
Mm-hmm.
So
The sandwich ran you over?
then social media almost killed me. It was roadkill on the information highway. You
Yeah.
never heard that one,
Yeah.
but yeah. But always pushing forward, and I think if you work on your education, find a mentor if you can. That's helped me a lot, and no question really is too crazy to ask. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody's either done it, they're thinking about it, or they're in the process of trying to hack a plan.
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, if somebody's paying to go to a workshop to learn something, you shouldn't be embarrassed to ask a question. It's you're paying to be there, you're paying to learn, get as much out of it as you can. Now, I'm not going to name names, but yesterday we had a unique situation with one of the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go into specifics, but they paid the session, or they paid the workshop price, because what they really wanted was to get into the venue to photograph just pictures of the venue, and maybe get a couple pictures of the models and stuff. But I don't know if you noticed, like towards the end, they I always do like that setup for reception lighting, and I try to my best to explain why I've got it set up a certain way. But that person, they weren't even like, I had the pocket wizard and all that stuff when I was passing it, from one person to the next, so they could all give it a try. And that person, they weren't even like in the room. They were,
Participating.
yeah, they weren't participating. They were either in some other part of the venue, or they were actually taking pictures of our models, but they were doing it from another door. And
Yeah.
I guess they were doing just natural light or something like
All
that.
the light, all the way I figured it was they may have been taking photos of the setup in case there
Uh,
was an event there, because all the window shades were closed, so there
right.
was no nat light,
Yeah.
and she would it would have been pouring into something um, unexpected. You don't know what kind of light you'd be getting, and I thought it might have
Yeah.
been muddy, but everybody has a. I mean, I don't say everybody has a plan, but just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and part of it also is, I mean, we found out later that this person, their plan was to eventually start teaching their own workshops. And I guess they wanted to learn, the format that this particular workshop was that we did yesterday. And it's, I mean, it wasn't even, I didn't even really feel like it was underhanded or whatever. I mean, if that person had come to me at the beginning and said, I also would really like to teach too, how did you get to this point? I'm thinking about offering a class on my own. Is it okay if I ask you some questions on how?
Well, I flat out asked you. I mean, hey, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about doing another basics class,
Yeah.
and my background was in journalism, but my
Hmm.
degree says journalism
Hmm.
communications, but I've never done this.
Hmm.
And fast forwarding into 2018, again, the bar is high. What do you do? Are you reading out of a textbook like I was learning in college? Like,
Hmm.
this is the story of photography. Nobody likes that.
No.
Everybody wants the technical stuff, the meat right away. They want to
Yeah.
know these situations. Uh, I don't know. My wife had some interesting comments about that when she said, "How did your day go?" And I said, I've seen many things in my life, but this is one of them where I just thought, wow, everybody's different. But
Oh, you talking about yesterday, that
Yeah,
situation?
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I've learned, even if you're not a believer, the universe has a funny way of working out.
You know what? My wife said the exact same thing yesterday. And honestly, I think, a year or two ago, I would have gotten really pissed.
Yeah.
Like this person's trying to steal my ideas or my format, or God forbid, they try to steal my presentation or whatever. But
So this is a bad time to ask you for the USB then.
I mean, honestly, I actually send the presentation with the copy of my contract as well as my price sheet and all that stuff because I mean, I got that information from other people when I was getting started. I didn't think up all that stuff on my own. But so hey, Steve, how's it going? Sorry, yeah, I know I tried to get word out in the Facebook group, but I had a headshot session this morning and I totally forgot, so I apologize. Um, but the I don't know, for some reason yesterday when I was coming back home, it didn't bother me as much. I think even just thinking to myself, you know what, if they're however, even if they copy everything that I did teaching this class, their class is not going to be identical. It's going to be different. And also, other things like they even if they did like, whoops,
I mean, you being
sorry, that was my
kidnapped?
alarm. Yeah, no, it's the Jawas going crazy. That's kind of our signal for it's almost time's up. But anyways, yeah, it's sorry, it gets my attention.
Obviously.
um, but honestly, I think that even if they copy like some of my slides for my presentation, my slides have my photos on them. I mean, how are they going to make that work unless they drop their own photos
You
on
know,
it? So,
I think I've done presentations, but like for networking,
mhm.
not networking, social media networking, and borrowed other people's slides, not necessarily like copying. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
how did they begin? Okay, they began with a joke.
Okay, like the
They
format.
began with a quick overview of social media and then write it here. And you kind of just look at it. I don't think there's a book called, is it Steal Like an Artist?
I don't know.
It basically says, and this is just a summary, it's a clip notes. Yeah, you can look at their work. There are no
Mhm.
unicorns anymore. That's
Yeah.
what the artist was saying, that it's been done. Unless you can shoot a photo from the moon with a bikini model somehow making it, fine. And that's his words. Yeah, that's new. But in nowadays and age, today's world, I think you can take something, make it your own, but just don't copy it for point word for word. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really obvious. I was telling a story yesterday about how I found this other photographer's website. They actually stole my bio from my website word for word. And it's just, and this person was, in some other state somewhere. And it was crazy because my bio's got, my background in opera and just some of the awards that I've received and just, and it says, like Austin, Texas, stuff like that. And thank goodness they were smart enough to actually take that part out and put in the city that they work out of. But I mean, they just literally copied almost the entire page and just plopped it onto their website. And then, so I was kind of curious. I went around and looked at some of their portfolio pictures and started dropping them into Google image search and found that they were from other photographers' websites too. And uh, I mean, it's like you said, it's one thing to
first again, we'll have a funny way of working out. Hopefully, don't wind up in court. Maybe just we're nice to that person. I always try to look for the good in people.
yeah.
Even as the bright side of a train wreck, but you try to believe like maybe they didn't know, but
Mm-hmm.
after a while, the bottom drops out. I had my first ever business partner uh, was just like that. I mean, he would steal
Mm-hmm.
people's ideas, he'd make his own, and eventually we parted ways when I saw what he was. I started
Yeah.
seeing more of his personality coming through. I'm trying to be genuine. I try to serve others. I'm not here for the ego boost.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was into dollar signs, ego boost, and I figured out he was gonna try to push me out of the company
Oh,
eventually because I was too trusting. I didn't have all the right contracts.
yeah.
I think 18 years later, I have no idea whatever happened to him. No idea if he's been in jail, and he's nowhere on social media because I looked him up a couple years ago, just curious, like whatever happened to that guy.
Hmm.
So again, universe shows up. People call it karma. I believe it's God's will, but don't stress. People will come to you, and whether it's your photography style, your workshops, or anything, you paint a house.
Yeah.
People will find you. My company's built a reputation. I push, not push, but I try to make sure that hey, if you had a good time, if you don't mind, you review me on Google.
Hmm.
Please take the time. And if you didn't like me, well, my name is, and I'll insert another photographer's name.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that.
No.
No, I was told not to. But just kind of try to encourage them because it's still a small market where I'm from,
Hmm.
and your reputation will make or break you real fast.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's people who feel like they can just steal your work or steal your bio or steal the, you know, basically copy your workshop because they're like, oh, well, I could do this too, or whatever. I don't know. Something I just thought of. They're basically just self sabotaging, because they're,
You can only put a band-aid on something so many times before it gives out.
yeah,
And whether it be your business, photos, or whatever, yeah, it's gonna give.
yeah.
You don't want to be there when that bomb goes off. You know, it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah, it's like when you take a brown paper bag and set it on fire and put it on somebody's front lawn with really gross stuff in it that
That
I'm
was
not going
you?
to say in the video. That was me. Yeah.
If you find your your car with 4 flat tires,
Yeah.
wasn't me either.
Okay, so we actually have to start getting ready. I got to get a few things done before I go, and we go to another workshop today, the on location portraits lighting thing in Central Austin. I got to answer some emails and edit some photos and stuff before we head out. But I know today wasn't too much of a discussion, really. I was just going to let Abel do all the talking, but then my mouth got in the way. So, but yeah, so check the link that I posted in the chat in case you want to learn more about the Lightroom Instagram plugin. And then I think I also put the name of the desktop app for Instagram that allows you to upload and all that other stuff from your desktop to Instagram. It's Flume, Flume. And then the other one is lrinstagram.com. So, just boosting your social media stuff and everything else. So, you got anything else to say?
No,
No.
You gotta look for show here in shock.
A sign off.
I did have one, but then I better not.
That's okay. I put you on the spot. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you learned something today, please hit the like button. That always helps the channel. And also, you can leave comments on the video even after the show's over. But other than that, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye. There we go. Click the button.